Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, you read the title. I am finally reviewing Season 3 of James May, our man in, insert wherever he travels to. That's right, for Season 3, this time, James has traveled to India. Yes, James May, our man in India. And, this season was actually a pretty good season. And first off, the fact that for season 3 and for his, his destination and, him exploring India, only 3 episodes. 3 episodes, that's it. Well, I'm pretty sure, there are plenty of good reasons as to why there are only 3 episodes for this season and for his, travel to India and him exploring India and such. Probably because, how much they did in India and, for what they were doing, working on this season and, laying out how many episodes there would be in total for this season. And I think you get my point. I think that sounds about right, and it could be obvious. Not to mention, the first 2 seasons of James May, Our Man In, which I, of course, reviewed on, and if you want to check those 2 out, Our Man in Japan and Italy, the first 2 seasons, they had a total of, I want to say, 6 or 7 episodes. That sounds about right, yeah. And, for this season, only 3. But like I said, probably there are some good reasons as to why there are only 3 episodes. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure because, well, also, obviously when I first heard about, what was in store for Season 3, well, obviously I heard that for Season 3, this time, James was going to be traveling to India. And I'm pretty sure not just me, but to anybody else who enjoys watching the content that features and stars James May, also Clarkson and Hammond, if it's just the 3 of them separate, each of them doing separate shows of their own, or if they're together, like, say, when they did Top Gear and the Grand Tour, anybody who enjoys all 3 of them, and as my mom calls all 3 of them, the boys. That's the best way to call them. Because for those that enjoy anything that James May does, all 3 of them, as I said, I'm pretty sure that not just me, but everybody else, they were surprised to hear and see and so on that only 3 episodes for this season of James May, Our Man In. I have no doubt about it. So, yeah. Okay. So, as always, read the description / the story. James May takes on his greatest adventure yet, a 300,000, whichever which, mile coast-to-coast epic across India, the most populous and perhaps most extraordinary country in the world. Okay, now, also, I would like to point out, anytime that I mispronounce some of these words, that come straight from India, because, you know me, and, not just me, but anybody else that joins me for review videos, and even my dad, mispronouncing some words, and who doesn't, okay? Especially any word that comes from different countries and such, like India. Just saying, okay? Okay, so with the 3 episodes of Season 3, now that's kind of funny, because, for the total of episodes for Season 3, 3. So, yeah, you see what I mean? So it's totally obvious. The 3 episodes have interesting titles, like episode 1 especially. It's titled John. And of course I'll read the description / the stories of what goes on in these episodes. So with episode 1, James' epic journey starts in Mumbai, I think I'm saying that right, with one of India's top comics. After meeting a Bollywood legend, James heads to Adapru, if I got that right, to fly kites before the wild and colorful celebrations of Holi, one of the Hindu calendar's greatest festivals. And for episode 2, titled A Bit Like Glasgow. I think I did get that right. Okay, description/story. James finds himself in the capital, Delhi, where the heavens open and all the street food is fried. Then it's time to tackle some Indian icons, cricket, trains, and the Taj Mahal. I think I got that right. Before the majestic Varanasi, yeah, and the mighty river gangs. Yeah. Okay, and finally, episode 3, titled Calamari. Yeah, because one moment about calamari and such, but until I get to that. Okay, description/the story. In the Himalayas, James experience Buddhism, tea, and heavy metal, then to Kolkata, for his big break in Tollywood, and finally on the Mangrove Islands, if I might have mispronounced that one word, of the Sundabarans. James braves bees and tigers to greet a very special new arrival. Okay, so I did the best I could. As I said, bear with me, and I gave you guys the heads up on me trying my best to pronounce some of these words, especially for them coming straight from Italy. Okay, so anyways, what goes on in these 3 episodes? Well, because, James May traveling through, almost all-round India and experiencing a lot of stuff that happens in India, as he's, of course, done with this show to every place he's traveled to. And especially because, let's talk about his companion, and who is, technically James's guide. Like, she appears in the first episode and in the last episode, and she's a Indian comedian named Aditi Mittal, if I'm getting her full name right. Yeah, her with James May is pretty funny, especially because, in episode 1, because they go to an India cinema, which used to be a theater, which was first built in the 1800s, and then years later, because it was then turned into a cinema building, cinema and movie theater. And they meet this legendary India artist who's done a lot of, painted and worked on a lot of movie posters. And, he's right there next to Drew Struzan, those kind of artists who do movie posters, that whole thing. And it's pretty funny because their experience meeting him, and how, I think, because the artist, he kind of gets annoyed by them because they're a bit too much for him, I guess you could say, even when they're trying to paint as well. It's hilarious. And also because, James experiencing flying kites and that the wild and colorful celebrations of Holi. Again, it's one of the Hindu calendar's greatest festivals. And if you know about that, because, in India, because, colors going everywhere, like powder, and, kind of, gets in your face, and it's all over you. Especially at the end of the episode, James, he still has it in his hair. Even when we come to the beginning of episode 2, he still has it. And it's hilarious, of course. And that's the thing, because, it's no matter what, whenever it's James May, or if it's Clarkson, Hammond, each 3 of them, whether if they're together, when they did, say, Top Gear, the Grand Tour, or if each 3 of them are doing different projects of their own, their own separate shows and such, they're always no matter what, they're always gonna have something in whatever they do. If it's just the 3 of them doing something on their own, on each of their own, or together, something hilarious would happen with any one of them always, and of course it doesn't fail in James May Our Man In, because I tell you, a couple of times when, like, you know, because James May is just wheezing of laughter, or if he gets into a you know, a little bit of an argument with the director, I tell you, just it's great. And that's, you know, because James May, along with Clarkson and Hammond, they're so great. You know, whether if they're just doing something on their own or if they're together, you get my point. So, yeah. Yeah, so what goes on in episode 1, and to speed things up, yeah, because, yeah, from them trying to learn how to paint a poster, not just James, but Atida, I might get her, if there's any point I mispronounce her name, you know, still, you know me sometimes, and learning to fly kites, and it's pretty funny, because even, like, James, he's flying a big red kite, and he's concerned about the weather, because it's not doing so good, and how, well, of course, it doesn't last that long flying kites and such. Yeah, so what goes on in episode 1, pretty good, and of course, funny. For episode 2, because, yeah, obviously, because how it's in pretty much all 3 episodes, you know, about India food and such, and yeah, because, you know, street food being fried, and well, because also learning about playing cricket and going on trains twice, because he went on a train twice, and in episode 2, because a train that he went on, well, because basically a lot of other people are on there who are obviously traveling and visiting India, you know, like this train that he's on is more like a theme park, according to James. Even, like, as we see James at times having that red dot that, you know, Indians, you know, people in India have, so, you know. Also, because I believe, yeah, it is in episode 2. Mud wrestling, I want to say? Yeah, so there's that, and, yeah. It's just funny what goes on in this one. Probably, I guess episode 2 might have to be my favorite episode because of what all goes on in this episode. And, yeah, Indian icons, that was funny. And, yeah, and this, like, ceremony or whatever it is, because, you know, the majestic Varanasi, and the mighty river Ganges, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And also, can't forget to mention, obviously, this would have to be in the show, and because they're in India, the Taj Mahal, if I might be mispronouncing a bit of that. Yeah, it's a sight to see. It really is. And as James May best said, because he remembers having this little book about some, you know, fascinating places to experience that are, you know, around the world, because, you know, from this, the Grand Canyon, and so on, and yeah, well, and hey, the Eiffel Tower is another thing, too, and maybe, possibly, I don't know, the Disney parks, I guess, I don't know, hey, Cinderella's castle, that's a sight to see, and the Tree of Life, but, you know, yeah, so for James May to finally, because he had been to India, according to James, he had been to India more than just once. I think 5 times? 5 times? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So this time, and for season 3 of them traveling to India for the show, and for James, because it's his show, he finally got to see the Taj Mahal in person. That was great to see. You know, good for him to finally see that with his own eyes. And the thing is, according to James, they couldn't get that close. Like, you know, the position where they're at, you know, the spot and such, like, yeah, because that's the best they can get close to. They can't get up close and so on, because if they do, and, you know, well, James, as James best described, you know, trying to record, even if he records from his iPhone, getting up close to the building, India would send the studio a big, you know, bill. So, but what James does, what he does, and what he tells us viewers is that there is an alternative. to get close to it, but not in the way you think, obviously, because, you know, just walking up to it and such, can't do that. Well, getting on a boat, you know, being on a different side and seeing a different point of view of it. And he's on, from my point of view, from his and mine, the right side of, like, the river and such, and seeing it, from my point of view, over there. So, you know, I think you get what I'm saying. But overall, you know, it was great to, of course, see it in the show, and for James to finally see it again, because he had never seen it in person until now and when recording for the show. Also, forgot to mention this, there is a moment where, I think in episode 2, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because where, yeah, James actually gets to meet a duke in India. That's pretty cool, and how, well, everything goes along pretty well between, well, you know, James and the duke. Yeah, and to speed things up some more, because the ending to it, because that the Varanasi and the mighty river gongs, again, if I'm even pronouncing any of these words right, pretty interesting, because what everybody does at night at, you know, up at this river, and it has to do with, like, fire and such. Yeah, and speaking of fire, because this was in episode 1, I almost forgot to mention this, that that lighting off, like, firecrackers or something, I think also fireworks involved, and, you know, lighting up a fire and there are firecrackers, and how close they are to it. God, and of course it's hilarious. And not to mention, I think, yeah, because this being in episode 2, James taking this, like, yoga lessons, and this woman up at a microphone telling them, you know, what positions and what, you know, yoga positions for them to do, like the locomotive, a goat. She literally says it, a goat giving birth, and them going, ha 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 ha, laughing and such. And James May mentioning, and this is a callback to when he destroyed that robot he got in season 1, his trip to Japan, you know, Bim, guess what? Yeah, he mentions that, and because of the laughter, it's funny. Yeah, so overall, episode 2, it was a pretty good episode, and like I said, I think probably it's my favorite for this season. So yeah, and for there only being 3 episodes, and well, it's easy to choose since there's not that many. Okay, so finally, episode 3, Calamari, because yeah, let's talk about Calamari, and because, you know, hence the title of this episode, because once again, the India comedian, Atiti, if I'm probably most likely getting her name wrong. She's back, and once again, she's traveling with James May some, and, there's early in the episode at the beginning, because they're having breakfast, and there's a mentioning about calamari, and to her, she talks about, like, what calamari is made of, you know, with her, through her experience, I guess, of, you know, about calamari, pigs' buttholes, like, and, well, this gets James laughing, you know, wheezing of laughter. It is funny, I'm pretty sure, because the camera crew, they were laughing a ball at it too, no doubt about it. Who wouldn't? Like, you wouldn't see something like that coming. And also, because about tea, because, yeah, there's a moment where both of them, they are trying out different kinds of tea, and there's a moment where they're blindfolded, and to see if they can identify some of the, obviously, like, I assume, like, some of the tea that they tasted already. And, yeah, because more on food in this, and, yeah, and also coming back to episode 1, because I almost forgot this. There is a moment where James and her as well, because they meet with this fortune teller. It's interesting and pretty funny. And that's all I'm gonna say. You just have to see the episode to see for yourself, and, well, the entire show. There are only 3 episodes. Yeah, because another thing about food in episode 3, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's in episode 3, James is being taught how to cook a pie and such, I guess a specific pie in India, and, yeah, it's pretty funny. Even the director and the crew, they want to speed things up, but James doesn't want this moment for him to be ruined, and he just starts to just show off and just, have the crew get a laugh, like, okay, so, action, and just, moving like this, and, and then he's swearing at them, go F off and such. Again, you just have to see the episode to see for yourself. It's hilarious. And also, because there's another thing about, like, food and such, like, honey, Sundabaron's honey, because them retrieving honey and, of course, avoiding bees, and in the mangrove islands of Sundabarons, because aside from bees, also tigers, because how, that island, that part of India, has come face to face with tigers. There's been tiger sightings, and they've set up, cameras, to catch them, and also set up nets to protect themselves from the tigers. And yeah, James accompanying them and, setting up a new net, and him testing out, because they set up another camera, and, James testing it out, pretending to be a tiger. That was funny. Also, at the start of this episode, and I was kind of like, what's going on here? But of course, later on, it's explained. There's this Bollywood show, well, Bollywood, whatever, because India TV content, entertainment on television, because there's this show that James talks about, and he gets a part in the show. He plays a school teacher, I think, teacher, professor, whichever which, and we see him, filming his sequence, talking to two students, and, well, they are speaking English, so, and it's pretty funny, of course, it's hilarious. And hey, just like how in season 1, when he went to Japan, he did an audition and he got a voice role in something anime. He did a wolf, and all he had to do was just do grunts and such, and of course it's hilarious. So yeah, there you go. Something else that James May has done, that's TV and such in different parts of the world, from Japan and India, because just about come to the end of the show, because not much else to talk about. I mean, and there is one touching moment where, because after his trip to, through the islands and such, he brings honey to this 2-day-old child, bringing honey to the child, this 2-day-old child, and also not just giving the honey, but also giving a gift, a plush of the double-decker bus in Britain. That was pretty funny. And asking the family, like, what do they think the 2-day-old child will grow up to be? And I think it's the father saying that, a singer. And yeah, possibly, yeah. So a good India singer and such. And speaking of singing, in the third and final episode, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because let me quickly look and see. I saw it. Was it in this one? Yeah, okay, yeah. Heavy metal. So it is in episode 3, just making sure. One moment where, because both James and the India comedian, because they go to this bar, I want to say, and there's heavy metal going on, and there is one song that James recognizes and he sings to. Well, I assume it's probably an India song that I guess it's well known to others, not just in India, but to some in the UK and in the US, probably. And they get to talk with one of 2 members of the heavy metal band that were playing. I think a guitarist and a drummer, and they, how they got into the whole thing of heavy metal and such. Well, because one of them saying, being introduced to, like, Elvis and the Beatles, and a mentioning of Smoke on the Water, that song, dun, 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 nice, that's a good song, love that song. Yeah, and to wrap things up and, to end off episode 3, because again, about up to 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because again, James, he brought the honey and a gift to a 2-day-old child, a baby, of course, and James had a good point, because the child doesn't look like it's 2 days old, but the fact it is, that can happen sometimes to some babies, they look like they were born a year ago or so, if you get what I'm saying. And there's a little, montage, a look back of this season, and where it started at the beginning and to the end, James at a beach, and that's what he did, just like what he did in the first 2 seasons of this show. And one of the last things he says is that India always wins. Yeah, so in a good way, of course, yeah. And it's pretty funny because I think, yeah, from episode 2 and to this, James May saying goodbye and, see you in the next episode and, see you next time wherever I'm at, in the world for the next season. After that, and when the camera pans off or he's walking away, he says something funny, obviously, to the crewmen. And, yeah, of course, one last funny moment, why not? So, yeah, especially when it comes to James May, Clarkson, Hammond, Yeah, but overall, this season, season 3, which being James May, our man in India, it was a pretty good season. I quite enjoyed it. Again, the fact that there were only 3 episodes of the show, but like I said early on, I think there are some good guesses as to why there were just 3 episodes of this season, where he, this time, travels to India. So, and yeah, 10 out of 10 for season 3 of James May, our man in India. A really good season, as always, for the show, and until the next season, wherever he travels to next time. And what about you guys? What did you think of this season, season 3, where this time James May travels to India? And again, for there only being 3 episodes, what did you think of that? To see that there were only 3 episodes, even aside from this season only having 3, did you still enjoy it? What was your favorite episode, and what was going on in all 3 episodes? Your favorite moments, and with good old James May, and all that I've had to say about it. And what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Season 3, James May, our man in India. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and until the next season of James May, our man in, peace out.